Okay, Identity 5, Season 30 Survivor tier list. Here we go. Worst character in the game. I don't have to explain it. Mind's Eye. I'm sorry. It's always Mind's Eye. Guys, listen. I'm sure there's going to be some people in the comments who are like, but I kite so well with Mind's Eye because I can see through the walls. Well, you know what's crazy? You know what's super crazy? Is you can actually play Lawyer, decode almost as fast, also see through walls at any time that you want, not get terror shocked, vault at a regular speed, throw pallets at a regular speed, vault faster than Mind's Eye because you get a vaulting increase over time. You also get a speed boost increase over time as Lawyer. And yeah, you can consistently see the hunter whenever you want. You don't have to like tap the cane every whatever seconds. You don't have to wait for cooldown. So Mind's Eye is just like a really, really, really bad version of Lawyer. So Mind's Eye C tier. It's super easy chase target for a hunter. Not worth it to play Mind's Eye. If you want to play Mind's Eye, just play Lawyer. Lawyer is an incredibly stronger version, a way stronger version of Mind's Eye. Next character in C tier is Doctor. Doctor is just not good. So Doctor, the problem with Doctor is you, against a lot of the hunters in the current meta, you just don't have time to get your heal off. Opera Singer pressures you so fast. Even Dream Witch, Blink Dream Witch can pressure you too fast. Doctor is just very limited. Best hunter in the game, Opera Singer, destroys Doctor. And then after that, a lot of hunters in this game Doctor still struggles against because they just pressure you so fast and don't let you get off your heal. So Doctor is C tier. I think that might be it for C tier characters. Most of the characters in this game are actually quite strong. So realistically, it's just kind of Mind's Eye and Doctor that are like the worst characters right now. So again, Mind's Eye, coding is not great. Doctor is just not very good in general. And yeah. Okay, moving on to the next tier, which is B tier. The first character in B tier is Painter. Now, Painter, I don't have in C tier anymore because Painter is decent against some hunters. Painter is technically decent against Opera Singer and also decent against Clerk. But very bad against Dream Witch, very bad against most hunters, but can be played against Clerk and Opera Singer. Lawyer also has Veteran's Bonus. Yes, that's correct. So Painter, the problem with Painter is many high-tier hunters can easily just change their camera angle, look around the painting, and play around the painting. So that's what makes Painter B tier. Next character in B tier is Prisoner. Prisoner is bad. And listen, I know you guys love Prisoner, and I'm very sorry, but unfortunately the biggest problem with Prisoner is that Prisoner's decoding is just not fast enough in comparison to a lot of the other meta decoders. So the problem with Prisoner is compared to something like Lawyer. Lawyer does a 20% increase, whereas Prisoner I think is only 10. And also you lose progress when you connect ciphers, so your overall decoding is just very slow. So Prisoner is unfortunately B tier. And his kiting just is not strong enough at all to make up for it. So that's what makes Prisoner a B tier survivor. The next survivor in B tier is Enchantress. So Enchantress, wait a minute. I think Prisoner might be lower than Painter. We'll put Prisoner there. I think Painter is slightly stronger. Yes, please stop playing Prisoner. So next is Enchantress. The issue with Enchantress is that Opera Singer destroys Enchantress. If Enchantress stuns the Opera Singer while she's in her dash, it does not turn off the Opera's cooldown. So the Opera Singer, if she gets stunned while in dash while dashing against an Enchantress, there's no cooldown on the dash, so she can immediately just dash right away after getting stunned. Secondly, Dream Witch destroys Enchantress. Enchantress has no counterplay to Dream Witch. You can stun one follower, but they got a bunch of other followers, so it just doesn't really matter that much. And also Enchantress is bad against like random hunters, like Bloody Queen or Anne or Wax Artist. She's just bad against a lot of random meta hunters. Not that good against Naiad. She's just kind of bad against random hunters. So that's what makes Enchantress B tier. So I definitely would not really recommend playing Enchantress. Unfortunately, is just not too strong in general. And yeah, Enchantress is B tier. Next character in B tier is Perfumer. And Perfumer was used a little bit by some of the top teams to try to counter Opera Singer, because in theory, Perfumer could be good against Opera, right? But in reality, she's not very good, because even if you hit the Perfumer's perfume, Opera Singer can just dash to the Perfumer, catch up right away, and hit her again before she gets her cooldown on her perfumes. Because Perfumer is just... yeah. The cooldown is just too long on the perfumes. She's also really weak against Patroller Dream Witch. She's really weak against... she's not very good against Clerk, because Clerk is all about transition kiting. Perfumer doesn't really transition. She just kind of uses her ability in place, which is just not very good in general. So that's what makes Perfumer a B-tier survivor. And yeah, just not too playable overall, unfortunately. Next survivor in B tier is Thief. I remember when Thief used to be like A tier back when Clerk was meta. But the problem is now Clerk is not meta anymore. The best characters, again, Opera Singer, Dream Witch, Night Watch. All those characters are good against Thief. Thief has nothing, is just really bad against Dream Witch. Very bad against Opera Singer, because Opera Singer just dashes so fast that Thief, he cannot use the flashlight. Thief is not very good against Night Watch as well. Unfortunately, not very strong there. So there's just many ways where Thief is just not too strong overall. So yeah, Thief definitely is now a B tier star. Still fun to play around with, and still quite good in some situations, but overall, unfortunately, not too strong in general, and is weak against some of the main meta hunters. So Thief is B tier. Surprised we haven't seen Lucky Guy yet, right? Next survivor in B tier is Weeping Clown. So Weeping Clown is... the problem with Weeping Clown is that by the way, if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to ask in the chat, or anything you want to add, or anything you want to compare and contrast. Feel free to add in the chat. So Weeping Clown is Weeping Clown's not bad. Does have a slight decoding debuff, which is not ideal though, and he's not very good at cutting Opera Singer. Opera Singer is so fast she can just catch up, dash, hit the Weeping Clown super fast. Dream Witch also pretty good against Weeping Clown. Can just patrol the clown. Not a whole lot you can do there. And yeah, so Weeping Clown definitely is just a B tier survivor. Pretty mediocre. The next survivor in B tier is actually, I want to put Little Girl here. Next survivor in B tier is Little Girl. Little Girl is, in theory, Little Girl is a very cool character concept. The idea that you can teleport across the map and combine with another survivor. This seems very strong, and it seems like, okay, this character has a lot of potential, but in reality, it's just not very good. The problem with Little Girl is if you're combining with another survivor, but if you combine with another survivor, you're slowing down the decoding, which is the problem. You said earlier that Enchantress stunning Opera during a dash doesn't cancel cooldown. It does, but Opera can use teleport to reset anyway. I don't believe it does. If the Enchantress is... I could be mistaken, unless there was an adjustment. When Opera Singer first came out, I'm almost certain that if you stun the Opera Singer, she can just continue her dash right away. And it does not turn on the cooldown. Last time I saw that, last time I played Opera Singer, it does not stop the cooldown. Saw Nello flirting with Celia. Tony was pretty good. It was pretty fun for sure. So Little Girl, and so that might have actually been a change or an adjustment, but I don't know. So Little Girl's kiting is just not that good. Hunters can just stand outside of the page, wait for the page to blow up, and then just chase after the Little Girl again. Kind of bad. It's not a great kiter overall. Little Girl is not too strong. So Little Girl is B tier. I've never really liked Little Girl. I never thought she was very strong. And yeah, just sort of B tier overall. Okay. Next survivor in B tier is Cowboy. Cowboy never really gets played. Didn't she get an adjustment? Okay, so her adjustment must be that it cancels the cooldown. But even so, even with that in mind, if that was the adjustment, I'm not entirely sure about the adjustment. if that was the adjustment, even with that in mind, Enchantress it doesn't change anything. Enchantress still gets countered by Opera because Opera can just, as previously as the other person mentioned, Opera can just go back into, she can just teleport to the shadow and continue the chase after Enchantress. Also, Opera can dash out of the shadows and swing and hit the Enchantress before stun registers, and it'll cancel the attack recovery or something. It's just not, it's not good. It's just a no bueno. Anyways, Cowboy. Cowboy is a pretty good transition kiter, but he's just a lot worse version of Patient, essentially. And he obviously does have some harassing abilities, but if you're going to play an OB harassment character, it's a lot better to play something like Prospector or Antiquarian. Prospector and Antiquarian are a lot stronger in general. Cowboy is super easy to counterplay. You can Excitement, or you can just drop the Survivor twice, and they make it to the chair. The only times where Cowboy's actually good if they die like directly in the corner of like inside Red Church, but overall characters like Antiquarian and Prospector are a lot stronger. So overall, Cowboy's kiting is pretty good actually, but not too great against Opera or Dream Witch, and his harassing is not as strong as some of the other harassment characters. So that makes him B tier. Next character in B tier is Lucky Guy. Lucky Guy is actually solid. Like, he's not that bad. People just kind of overthink Lucky Guy. It's like, okay, you're on Lucky Guy, you didn't choose your character. But Lucky Guy is actually like kind of decent now. Because he's actually good against Opera Singer. Veterans bonus characters are really good against Opera Singer because they can take that veteran speed bonus and just make a lot of distance, right? Opera Singer is very unhealthy for the game, I'll be honest. Opera Singer is very unhealthy for the game. But in reality, we will probably not see Opera Singer get nerfed because she was already nerfed once. So, yeah. Anyways, Lucky Guy's pretty good against Opera. You can wish for a Perfume, which Perfumes can be decent against a single A hunter. Not too strong, but if you combine that with a Veterans bonus, then that can actually be very good. You can get Elbow Pads, which can help you kite against Opera. You can get Flare Gun, which can help you kite against Opera. Keep in mind the Flare Gun stun is shorter than Coordinator, but still not bad. And you can get Pocket Watch, which is good against Opera. And you have Veterans bonus, which is good against Opera. So the reason why Lucky Guy is actually B tier is he's actually good against Opera Singer. And while in reality, he's not great against a lot of other hunters in the game, he is good against the best hunter in the game, Opera Singer, who's super broken, and that's what makes it very important. Lucky Guys in my matches waste all their time on chests and never to code. That's not how you play Lucky Guy. You only search one chest if it's super close to your opening cipher, and if it's not, you should just decode straight away. But yeah. There's a certain way you gotta play Lucky Guy, and that's... I think your randoms are not playing him right. So yeah. So Lucky Guy is B tier, good against Opera Singer, and that's what makes him in B tier and not C tier. Next five in B tier is Mechanic. Mechanic's been nerfed to the ground pretty hard over the years. Obviously, Mechanic used to be one of the best characters in the game. Not much to say here. Her bot energy runs out very, very fast, which is kind of a problem, but it can still do one cipher as long as it doesn't take a hit at any point. And yeah, I mean, Mechanic Cypher Rush is still decent. Again, nowhere near as much as it used to, and with multiple people injured, decoding is just so slow. But yeah, Mechanic is just B tier. Good Cypher Rush, but nothing like it used to be. Grim Mech, my former main. Yeah, Mech is still, I mean, I like still playing Mechanic sometimes, but yeah, just like really not at all as good as she used to be. I wish that wasn't the case, but unfortunately, she just don't got it like that anymore. And yeah, I guess the last character in B tier, I'm trying to decide if I want to put Journalist in A- or B. I think we're going to leave it like this. Moving on to the next tier, which is A- tier. First character in A- tier is, yeah, actually we'll put Journalist in B tier. Journalist doesn't really get played in tournaments. There's a reason for that. She is good against certain hunters, but the problem is Journalist kiting as a rescuer is not too strong. That's the biggest problem with Journalist, is her kiting is not too strong, even as a rescue character. Rescue characters usually need to be tough characters and be very durable, and Journalist just lacks that, and that's what makes her a B tier survivor. Yeah, actually there's one more character in B tier, sorry. Last character in B tier is Postman. Postman is still pretty decent in my opinion, but the biggest problem with Postman is that his decoding letter is only 10%. Actually, you know what? Postman's A-. He's not the same as Prisoner. Postman's significantly better than Prisoner. So the issue with Postman is he's not very good against Dreamwitch, and he's also not very good against Opera Singer, because Opera Singer, even if she gets dogged, she can still catch up and hit the Postman very fast. Now, Postman is not too bad. He does have the gate opening speed letter, which is pretty strong. And he also has the decoding letter, which increases by 10%, which is obviously not as good as it used to be. At 20% for both survivors, 10% is still not too bad, though. He can also give kiting letters to help support kiting. So Postman is a pretty versatile character. Unfortunately, not too good against Dreamwitch or Opera. And that's what makes Postman bottom of A- tier. Unfortunately, not any higher than that. Put Prisoner in C tier. Honestly, you're probably right, but I don't know. And yeah, so Postman is in bottom of A- tier. All right. Next character in A- tier is Batter. So Batter is still a pretty good harassment character and not bad in later rounds, and can be super clutch when you try to go for a 4 escape. But the problem is Batter is weak to Dreamwitch and Opera Singer. Any high character that's weak to Dreamwitch or Opera Singer is not going to be A+ or S tier. So if you're weak to Opera Singer, which in this case is Batter and you're weak to Dreamwitch and Opera Singer, then Batter is not too strong overall. So yeah, that's the biggest issue with Batter, is he is weak to Dreamwitch and Opera Singer. That's what makes him A- tier, bottom of A-. But overall, not a bad kiter, and is still good against some of the other hunters in the game, and can support, very good against things like Geisha, and can support games, but overall is definitely lacking. Waiting to see the S tier so I can choose my new main. We'll get there soon. Next character in A- tier is Composer. I'm actually going to put Composer below Batter. Not quite as good as Batter. Composer, I actually think Composer is not bad. My biggest issue with Composer is you have to play piano tiles, which means that it's hard to like focus on what's happening in the game because you're looking at your piano tiles, right? Instead of actually looking at what's happening in the game around you. So the first time I ever played Composer, I was focusing on my piano tiles game, which was timing the notes with Composer. It's hard to see what's going on in the game. You don't really know what's going on in the game as Composer because you have to focus your vision 100% onto the music notes, right? Timing the music notes. So you have to put it on ×3 speed so you can get that up to that 20% real quick. And so that's why, that's why Composer is not any higher, because he struggles to see what's going on literally in the match. But overall, Composer's not bad. It's not a bad kiting character. His decoding is pretty good. I think it's solid. Nowhere near as good as Lawyer, but I think Composer is not that bad. I popped the last cyber on accident because I was so distracted by the minigame. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Composer is not bad, but he's not quite as strong as some of the best characters in the game. Nowhere near. I think he's not bad, but I think he's also slightly underrated as well. But next character in A- tier is Professor. Professor is not bad against Opera Singer, but not as good as some other characters, because Opera Singer can easily just bait the scale and then just dash and catch up right away and hit. You can just bait 2 scales super fast, dash, catch up, and hit. Now, Professor is good against some hunters. For example, very good against Clerk, very good against Geisha. So if you are expecting one of those single hit hunters that doesn't have much counterplay, then Professor can be very strong. But he's not quite as good against Opera as people think. He's good against Nightwatch as well. Very good against Nightwatch. But you have to have very good ping to play Professor. And he's just not good against Dreamwitch. And he's not that great against Opera. We'll see where Wildling is. So Professor is A- here. But overall, he's not too bad. But yeah, he's just kind of, he's aight. He's aight. A- tier. Next character A- tier is Barmaid. Barmaid obviously is very good against Dreamwitch. It's good against Clerk. Not very good against Opera. Actually terrible against Opera, because Opera can get the 2 hits within 20 seconds, no problem. Not too good against Wax Artist. Not too good against Nightwatch. but is good against Dream Witch and is good against Clerk if people still play Clerk. Nobody really plays Clerk anymore, but is pretty good against Dream Witch. And also things like Bloody Queen, or Anne, technically. So, yeah. Is Professor good against Naiad? Yeah, Professor's good against Naiad, but you have to have very good ping to instant time the Naiad swings, because she swings very fast. If you have bad ping and you're playing Professor, you're not going to be able to instant that very well. So Barmaid is good against Dream Witch and good against Bloody Queen. Pretty good against Anne. Pretty good against Clerk. Very good against Clerk. And that's about it. Not good against Opera or Night Watch. But still good against some of the strong hunters, so that's what makes her A- tier. On PC, there's also a delay with getting off the ciphers, so Composer shouldn't prime ciphers on PC. Yeah, Composer's just kind of... Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, moving on to the next character in A- tier. Next character in A- tier is... I kind of want to put Magician... We're gonna it's actually... I think it's probably Ento. Next character in A- tier is Ento. Ento is not as strong as she used to be, of course, because you do lack... a support against Opera Singer is not very good, because Opera Singer can just kill the beast super fast and just dash and catch up anyways. And she's also not too strong again. She kind of just fell off, mostly because of Opera Singer. That's like the biggest problem for Ento. She's not too incredibly strong against Night Watch as well. She's not too incredibly strong against Dream Witch. So kind of the three of the top hunters right now. Night Watch maybe is not like one of the top, but is still very, very strong. Opera Singer, Entomologist sort of struggles against Dream Witch and Opera a little bit, and it's just not good against a lot of the meta hunters currently. Can be good in later rounds in tournaments, and also is a very good rank survivor, just not good early rounds, and that's what keeps her down in A- tier instead of the typical A+ tier that we would usually see the Entomologist at. Yeah, Batter fell down for sure. It's not even skill gap. It's just that Batter's not strong against Opera Singer or Dream Witch. Moving on to the next character in A- tier, which is Gravekeeper. Some of you guys will be like, well, Gravekeeper's so good because the chip doesn't knock him out of shovel right away, or, oh my god, his shovel doesn't run out. If he uses it once, he can reuse it if the hunter doesn't hit it. Well, while that may all be true, Gravekeeper is just not good against Opera Singer. Wow! A character that's not good against Opera Singer. Imagine that. The problem with Gravekeeper against Opera Singer is that Opera can just hit the grave out of shovel super fast, then hit the grave again, and then hit the grave out of shovel, and then hit him, and you get 4 hits in like 30 seconds. And Grave cannot really kite against Opera. So because Grave is weak to Opera Singer, that's it. He's weak to Opera Singer. That's what makes him A- tier, not A+. If you're weak to Opera, then you're not really gonna be A+ tier. Opera Singer just dominates the Identity 5 game right now, in competitive and in rank. If you don't ban Opera Singer's getting played, as long as the hunter knows what they're doing. It's just Opera is just too good. Opera Singer is hands down the best hunter ever released, and still is. It has not been adjusted to it enough. It's still just completely broken. Okay, moving on to the next tier, which is A+ tier. The first character in A+ tier is... actually, we're going to put Toy Merchant. Toy Merchant at A-. Toy Merchant is very map situational. The reason why she's not A+ or S is she's not too great against Opera, and she also is map situational. Very good in Chinatown, Ever Sleeping, Moonlit, 2-story maps. Small maps with no 2-story, Red Church or Arms Factory, not very good, so that's what keeps her A-. Okay, moving on to the next tier, which is A+. What was the first character I was going to put? I literally was just thinking... Okay, Novelist. First character in A+ is Novelist. I need to make sure I'm charging my phone while I'm doing this. Prime Soulweaver stronger? No. Listen, as much as Prime Soulweaver was hella cracked, Prime Soulweaver was hella good. Opera is literally the exact same thing as Prime Soulweaver, except she doesn't run out of speed boosts, you know? And she can teleport back to her shadow, which Prime Soulweaver could not do. Prime Soulweaver was broken because she was super fast, and it took her a long time to run out of webs, but Opera Singer just does not run out, and she can teleport with her shadows, which Prime Soulweaver cannot do. But I do agree, Prime Soulweaver was very good. Gravekeeper is actually bad. He's not bad. He's not bad at all. He's good against Dream Witch because he can't get patrolled. He's situational. So, Tuberos, it's like this, right? If you play Grave, and hunters will play certain hunters to counter Grave. So if they see Grave, they're going to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to play Bonbon because Grave's Rescue is not too strong against Bonbon. You can get 2 quick chips to knock them out of the shovel. Notice I said 2 quick chips, 2, because you have to get 2 now. Also, Opera just claps Grave. But Grave is good against Dream Witch because he can shovel through Patroller. And being good against Dream Witch is pretty important. Abnormal Opera is pretty cracked, yeah. So Novelist is pretty good. Novelist cannot be used in tournaments because Novelist is a glitchy character. So we're actually not allowed to use Novelist in the Caster tournament. Novelist was actually not allowed in the Caster tournament because he is a glitchy character. Even with the new Novelist, he's still a glitchy character. And that's what makes Novelist A+ tier, bottom of it. Not what makes him that. We just can't play him, which sucks. But he is very strong. He can teleport. He can switch with the hunter, put the hunter into a pallet, and pallet stun him. Or you can just switch to make distance. That's kind of the main thing. His kiting, Novelist kiting improved a lot. And that's definitely what kind of helped him out, is his kiting improved. And his kiting is actually quite strong. But can't use Novelist in tournament, unfortunately, because he is glitchy in a lot of tournaments. It does cause a lot of problems, and I guess the devs just want to kind of avoid that happening for sure, which is understandable. But Novelist, if he was allowed in tournaments, would obviously be very good. So, yeah. Next character in A+ tier is Wildling. Wildling is very good because Wildling is unchaseable on his boar. Yeah, little people actually played Mad Eyes because he was so hard to play. He still is, but he's just not as good. Mad Eyes is nowhere near as good as he used to be. Wildling is A+ tier. He cannot get patrolled by Dream Witch. He's a solid rescuer against the Opera Singer because he can't get cut off from a distance. He's just unchaseable. So if the hunter goes to the Wildling, you can literally just get on your boar and the hunter has to change targets. That's literally so cracked, you know? The hunter goes to the Wildling and is like, okay, I'm just going to get on my boar and I'll change targets. And if somehow the hunter does chase Wildling and downs him, after you rescue the Wildling, you can just get on his boar again and just continue to kite. It's super good. So Wildling is very strong. I think Wildling is good. I don't like Wildling in rank that much, to be honest. But I do think Wildling is very good in tournaments. I think he's not an incredibly strong rank survivor, but he is a very good tournament survivor. So that's what makes Wildling A+ tier, is his unchaseability. Makes him very, very good in general. Alright. Next character in A+ tier is Magician. Magician, the only reason why Magician is actually like higher than he used to be is Magician's good against Opera. If you're good against Opera, you're a good character. I mean, if your character is good against Opera Singer, and also if your character is good against Opera Singer, it's going to be decently high. If your character is good against Opera Singer and also pretty good against other hunters, then you got it, you know? Magician used to be kind of mid. He was just like B tier, right? But Opera Singer came out and people figured out Magician is a good character against Opera. And that's what makes Magician A+ tier, is Magician can kite Opera Singer pretty, very, very well. And very consistently as well. Also, Magician is good against some other hunters as well. For example, you can use it against Nightwatch. You can use it against Bloody Queen. You can use it against Geisha. You can use it against Naiad, kind of, but it's not that great, I guess. But Magician is a versatile kiter. Magician can, in theory, kite most of the hunters in the game pretty well, with the exception of Anne. Not incredibly strong against Dream Witch as well, but is good against, quite strong against Opera, and also good against a lot of the other hunters in the game as well. Good against Clerk. Good against Clerk as well. So that's what makes Magician an A+ tier character. How's Composer up in A? Well, he's not A. He's bottom of A-. He's on like borderline A- B tier. I do think Composer is Composer's Cypher Rush and also does have decent kiting abilities. So I think that's, in my opinion, that's what keeps him slightly higher up on the tier list. And yeah, I think Composer's pretty underrated because you can put Composer, you can take Composer and then spawn him in a good kiting area, and he can just loop that kiting area using his speed boost, things like that. So that's what makes Composer not quite B's, a little above B, A-. But yeah, Magician is next. Next character in A+ tier is Forward. I'm actually going to put Forward right below Magician. I think Forward is not quite as good as Magician. I think Magician's actually more valuable than Forward in the current meta. The issue with Forward is Forward gets destroyed by Opera Singer. Forward has a very hard time harassing Opera Singer because she can literally just push the Forward away and then teleport back to the down Survivor with her Shadow teleport and just pick up the Survivor right away. On top of that, Forward has a really hard time kiting Opera Singer because she's just so fast and catches up right away. And also Forward's decoding is just not as good. If you're going to play a slow decoder, it has to be a stable character that cannot get chased, such as Wildling, whereas Forward just does not have that. The meta is sort of, if you're going to use a OB and a harassment character, it should be a character that does not have slow decoding, because having a relatively fast decoding speed is what makes up the current meta. So, for example, having characters such as Prospector or Antiquarian is significantly stronger, if that makes sense. Opera Singer viability shouldn't matter that much. Opera Singer viability is literally the majority of what matters right now in the current meta. Opera Singer is the hunter. Opera Singer is the hunter to beat. It is. Opera Singer is just is, you know? The goal is to not get 4 killed by the goal is to tie the opera. If you're playing characters, for example, like Forward or like Cowboy or like Batter, you're not tying Opera Singer, right? And that's sort of the biggest thing right now. If you're playing ranked and you don't want to ban Opera Singer, then you have to play Opera counters. If you're playing in tournament and you're playing round 1, you have to play Opera counters. And unfortunately, Opera Singer is so good that nothing actually hard counters Opera. There's only soft counters. But viability against Opera, viability against Dreamwitch is like the most important things, and then also viability against things like Naiad or Geisha or Night Watch or whatever is also important, but mostly Opera Singer. Opera only matters in raising characters because round 1 just starts, round 2 now the old chart character is still good. I'm not sure what you're asking, Will. Opera Singer is so cheap. Opera Singer is really cheap, but Opera Singer is broken, so what can you do? Yeah, it's not about personal opinions. It's about what counters the top meta. And that's what's going to define what you play in rank and also what you play in tournament. This tier list is going to be good. It's not only for Opera Singer, but it's also for things like Dreamwitch as well. Or Naiad, or Geisha, or things like that. Is Cheerleader not included? Cheerleader is not shown here, but I'll just use like something else to indicate Cheerleader. I'll talk about Cheerleader at the end because I guess Cheerleader isn't. They didn't put Cheerleader on here, so yeah. We're gonna go back and we'll mention Cheerleader at the end. Since Cheerleader's the newest character, what I'm gonna this is actually good for all the tier lists from now on. I'm gonna do the newest character. I'm gonna put them in last, so you guys can like have the suspense of that. That was actually a good point though to point out Cheerleader. I didn't even know. I would have probably noticed at some point. I was like, wait a minute, where's the Cheerleader at the end? But yeah, we'll do Cheerleader at the end. Opera Singer made Geisha completely useless. It's not completely useless. Geisha's still good late rounds, but in terms of early rounds, yeah, Opera's just way better. We'll do Cheerleader as the last character to be shown because it's the newest one. You gotta leave you guys in suspense. Anyways, next character in C tier. Sorry, not C tier. What am I saying? Next character in A+ tier is Embalmer. Embalmer is very good. Embalmer is very good because it's hard to lose with an Embalmer on your team. Embalmer is a very good... Embalmer isn't C? Of course not. Embalmer is very good. Embalmer is very good. Embalmer is very good against Dream Witch. Embalmer is good against Opera Singer because it can help you get ties against Opera. And Opera is literally the best hunter in the game right now. Opera Singer... Embalmer is good against any character with not great map mobility, such as Bonbon, Sculptor, even Naiad it's not quite as good against Naiad, but still playable against Naiad. Good against Wax Artist, and Disciple, Clerk. Any character that has limited map mobility, Embalmer is good against. Embalmer is also very good on certain maps. For example, Moonlit River Park. You can spawn first stop, set your coffin first stop, take coaster across the map. If you die, then you coffin back to the other side of the map, and you're away from the hunter. Or you can spawn 2-story, put your coffin in 2-story, and you just take the window boost, run away, coffin yourself back to 2-story. Super strong. Or if you're on Sacred Heart Hospital, put your coffin in 2-story, in hospital. Kite Hospital, you die. You coffin yourself back to hospital. Keep kiting hospital. You know, it's super good. It's super strong. So Embalmer is definitely A+ tier. And Embalmer can help very good against Opera and Dream, which are the best hunters in the game. Yeah, I don't really know anything about Puppeteer either just yet. We're not gonna know about Puppeteer probably for I'm not sure when we're gonna obviously get all the information, but yeah, definitely not just yet. Okay, next character in A+ tier is Explorer. Nope, not B tier. Explorer is good because he is a good character against Opera Singer. Because obviously Cypher Rush is super important against Opera. Because Opera is such a strong hunter. Trying to get ties is very good. Not good against Dream Witch. Explorer is super weak to Dream Witch because the main body can find the main body or the mother or the mama witch can find the Explorer pretty easily. But besides that, Explorer is just good in general. Good against Opera, good against Clerk. But especially good against Opera because Cypher Rush, again, is everything. So Explorer is a pretty good Cypher Rush character and is also a target that Opera Singer would have a hard time finding as well. So that's what makes Explorer A+ tier. Pretty solid overall. Next character in A+ tier is Prospector. Prospector is a good harassment character, very strong in general, and he is on the weaker side to Opera Singer. That's kind of the problem with Prospector is because, you know, she can kind of just dash and hit you. But Prospector makes up for it. This is like the one character that has an exception. Prospector against Opera. If you don't play against Opera, Prospector's still good against the majority of the hunters in the game. Good against Naiad. Good against Geisha. Good against Naiad. Good against Geisha. Good against Anne. Pretty good against Dream Witch if you have Flywheel. Pretty good against Blood. It's actually, believe it or not, Prospector's not bad against Bloody Queen if you have Flywheel. Because you can just run into the main body, Flywheel past the swing, and then Magnet push them away, and you don't get trapped. Prospector's a good harassment. Supporting games up until the Cypher Machine is primed. Prospector is very versatile. A lot of situations. Can harass in the hotel area on Chinatown. Can harass in Red Church. Many places where Prospector is good. And so that's why it's okay that Prospector is not quite as strong against Opera, because he is a game changer against almost every other hunter in the game. That's what I'm saying. Well, the thing is, Will, it's like this, right? It's like this. If you have a character that's not too strong against Opera, but is a game-changing character against every other character in the game, then they're good. The problem is these other characters that are good against Opera, let's say Entomologist, for example. She's not game-changing, so she's not A+. She's good, but she's not game-changing against all other hunters in the game. For example, Batter, even though he's weak to Opera, he's also weak to Dream Witch, which is really bad. Whereas Prospector is not that weak to Dream Witch. Prospector actually can be quite good against Dream Witch if utilized correctly. So it's kind of like that. That's what makes Prospector A+ tier. Next character in A+ tier is Gardener. Who would have thought Gardener would have jumped up to A+ tier? But Gardener's super good against Opera. Gardener's also somewhat versatile against other hunters. Not good against Dream Witch. Very weak to Dream Witch. But overall, not too bad. pretty decent if you get found first. If Gardener gets found early, obviously you do have the bubble to extend your kite, which is pretty important. And it's also good against things like Bloody Queen. It can be good against things like Clerk if that does happen to come out. And yeah, that's kind of like the main thing, but mostly just good against Opera Singer. Prospector can kite, harass, decode, and heal. Yeah, so that's why Prospector's good, heal fast. But Gardener, obviously, against Opera Singer is good because you can take the bubble for your first hit. You can also utilize your Veteran's Bonus, which is Veteran's Bonus is very crucial against the Opera Singer. And you also have things like getting a new bubble, which is very important as well. Are you going to order each tier from worst to best? Oh, so it's just like this. So it's basically like C, B, A minus, A, and S. A plus and S. C is the worst. S is the best. And we're going from worst to best currently. Is what we're doing right now. I know no one would have ever predicted Gardener would have gotten that good. Who would have thought? Honestly, but yeah, Gardener is super strong right now. Definitely up in the A plus tier range. Next character in A plus tier is Female Dancer. Dancer is... I love Dancer. Guys, I love Female Dancer. This is one of my favorite characters to play. Dancer, obviously... Dancer's not too bad against Opera. The slow boxes can be pretty decent. It's not quite as good as some of the other characters, the other Opera counters, but still is not too bad. Not too strong against Dream Witch or Naiad. That's sort of the biggest problem with Dancer. But she's good against most hunters of the game. Incredibly strong against Night Watch. Incredibly strong against Wax. Incredibly strong against Geisha. Things like that. Dancer is incredibly strong against a lot of the late round hunters. And that's what makes Dancer extremely good in the later rounds. She just has that really strong slow box support. The slow boxes are really, really good. Slow box is one of the best things. The fact that you can literally take a slow box, throw a pallet over it, that can change an entire game. That can extend a kite significantly. That's such a strong play that people just really often underestimate, right? So definitely Female Dancer A plus tier. Against Anne, Dancer's not even that bad against Anne. If you have a slow box set up, you can just spin away to get out of range. The Anne's jump is slowed down. You can kite at... Yeah, Anne, in theory, if you think about it, Anne is like, okay, Anne should be good against Anne, right? Anne, what am I saying? Anne should be good against Dancer, but she's actually not. Yeah, Slowbox is just so broken. Slowbox is just such a strong game mechanic. And that's what makes the Dancer A plus tier, is Slowbox is just really good. Dancer Lovers Unite. Next character in A plus tier is Patient. Patient, obviously... Not much to say. The hooks are very strong. The transition kiting abilities are very good. And that's it. There's some broken hooking areas like the 2-story on Leo's Memory, 4-stop on Moonlit River Park. A lot of ways Patient is good. And that's what makes Patient an A plus tier survivor. It's just that simple. Okay. Next character in A plus tier is Psychologist. Patient and Psychologist often go very close together. Psychologist is strong against Opera because you can just take 3 hits. Is strong against Dream Witch because, Psychologist against Dream Witch can take 3 hits. That's super important. Psychologist is just pretty much playable against anything. Against Naiad, just force 3 basic hits. Your kite's going to be pretty long. Against Bloody Queen, just force 3 basic hits. Your kite's going to be pretty long. There's just so many ways where Psychologist is good. The ability to take 3 hits is just very, very game-changing. And it can extend kites for very long periods of time, right? And that's what makes Psychologist A plus tier. Is you can just extend your kites for very long periods of time with the triple hit ability. Right, and that's just super good in general. That's just super good in general, and that's what makes Psychologist A plus tier. All right, next character in A plus tier is Coordinator. Coordinator is really good. I love Coordinator. I think Coordinator is super strong right now. Obviously, very good against Opera Singer because you can just shoot the Opera Singer. and you can extend your kite against Opera. Just wasting the time with the flare gun is really important against Opera. Not very good against Dreamwitch, right? But good against Opera, good against Nightwatch, strong against, decently strong against Naiad, very good against things like Bon, good camping hunters. Coordinator is strong, and just good against Opera. That's the biggest thing. Coordinator is good against Opera. I love Coordinator. I think Coordinator is a very good character right now in the current meta. And yeah, Coordinator is high A+ tier for sure. Now, the big debate right now, and I'm actually not too sure on this myself, is Seer still S tier? I actually don't think so. I'm actually thinking that Seer is A+. I don't think Seer should be an S tier. I really don't. Seer's been an S tier every season, but Seer does not get banned enough or played enough to be S tier. Seer's just not S tier. Seer is A+ tier. Now Seer, let's keep in mind, guys, Seer is still very good. Seer is still solid against Opera, being able to extend kites against Opera, solid against Dreamwitch, solid against Naiad, solid against Breaking Wheel, solid against most hunters in the game. This is why Seer is still very good, is because Seer is still solid against a lot of the meta hunters. But he's just not S tier. He's just not banned enough. He's just not strong enough. The Owl only being, was it 15 to 8 seconds now? Yeah, it's just not, 8 seconds is not strong enough. Opera can down him before he gets Owl. Well, you shouldn't never get down before you get Owl. You should be able to rotate a little bit, because Seer can see the Opera Singer, so you should be able to rotate till his Owl's available. At least rotate a little bit. But yeah, Seer is just not what he used to be. People still ban Seer, just not as much, and players don't play Seer that much anymore anyways. So yeah, Seer is definitely A+ tier. Just not what he used to be. Now the debate here is if Aeroplanist is S tier or A+. We're gonna put him at A+ for now. Are we? No. We're gonna put Aeroplanist in S. Aeroplanist is borderline S and A+. Aeroplanist is definitely borderline S and A+. But it's very good. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go like this. We're gonna throw Acrobat here, because Acrobat's not quite S. Acrobat is a very strong kiter. He's very versatile against a lot of the hunters in the meta. Like, he's good against Dreamwitch. He's good against Opera. He's good against he's not as good against Nightwatch, but he's good against Opera. He's good against Dreamwitch. He's pretty good against Naiad. He's good against Geisha. He's pretty good against Bloody Queen, but he's not good against Spider. Yeah. So the problem with Acrobat is he's good against a lot of hunters. He's extremely versatile. He is not like, but he's not like, yeah, I think Aeroplanist is S, yeah. But he's not required for everything. He's definitely banned very often. He's also picked very often, but he's not, how do I explain it? Surveillance will actually start playing him now. But Aeroplanist is very good. Aeroplanist is very good. The problem with Acrobat is he's strong against majority of the hunters of the game, but he's not like broken. Acrobat isn't broken. Acrobat is not broken, but he is very versatile and a very good kiter in general. So that's what makes an A+, but not S. Also, his gate opening speed, yeah, his gate opening speed as well is 30% slower. So that's kind of the big downside there. And that's sort of what keeps him an A+, and not S tier. Okay, moving on to the last tier, which is S tier. First character in S tier is First Officer. As we've seen in the current meta, First Officer is very, very good. A lot of hunters will ban First Officer early rounds. They'll go like Merc Officer bans. Officer is just a very good against Opera Singer, because you can rescue twice against Opera. And Officer is just a very good rescuer in general. The only hunter he's not too great at rescuing against is Patrol or Dreamwitch. Or maybe Patrol or Feaster for that matter. But besides that, in general, very good rescuer, very versatile rescuer against a lot of hunters. Good against Opera as well, because Opera Singer has a very hard time chasing. Opera Singer sometimes likes to chase the rescuer, but Officer is difficult to chase for the Opera Singer. So, First Officer is bottom of S tier, but he is a very, very good rescuer in general, and is also banned quite often by a lot of hunters. Some hunters actually would prefer to have a merc rather than officer. Merc is still better because merc is just better against the majority of the hunters in the game. But first officer is very strong right now in the current meta. And that's definitely what makes him S tier. Next character in S tier is Priestess. Priestess is still busted, but she's not as good against Opera as some other characters. So that's what keeps her out of the top of S tier. You can play Priestess against Opera Singer, but it's not exactly ideal. And that's why we don't see Priestess as much in the early rounds. But she's incredibly broken against the rest of the meta. So similar to Prospector, she's not that strong against Opera, but she's broken against the rest of the meta. And she also just has broken game mechanics. Being able to portal across the map is incredibly strong. Setting up portals in general, which is very good. Merc has mobility, which is, yeah, Merc's mobility is also really irrelevant, especially for large maps. That's actually a big thing for Merc as well. But yeah, so Priestess, but Priestess is just broken in general. Not much to say. You guys know Priestess can portal through buildings. She can set up portals across the map. Is Priestess good against Stream Witch? Yeah, Priestess is good against Stream Witch. You can set up long portal to help a survivor escape and also help support kites as well. You can also, if you're playing on a map like Ever Sleeping Town as well, Priestess gets trapped between the leech and the main follower. You can just portal through a building and just escape from that as well. Yeah, we'll look at Puppeteer's abilities after the tier list. But yeah, Priestess, while she's not incredibly good against Opera, she's still a busted character in terms of game mechanic and still one of the best characters in the game for sure. Next character in S tier is Lawyer. Lawyer is broken. I'm gonna be honest. Okay, guys, listen. Lawyer's buff, going from being one of the worst characters in the game to one of the best, that was the craziest that might have been one of the craziest buffs we've ever seen in the history of IDV. It's Lawyer's buff. Lawyer literally went from being like, okay, I can't get terror shocked and I can see the hunter, and that's it. And it's like, who cares, right? Lawyer went from that to I can't get terror shocked. I can see the hunter and others. I can see the hunter, other survivors, cipher machines. I get faster running speed over time. I get faster decoding over time. I get faster vaulting speed over time. I have veterans bonus. Lawyer, which, I mean, he had that before. He had veterans bonus before. But Lawyer just got so many crazy things just added. NetEase was just like, let's just give Lawyer everything. Let's just give Lawyer everything. And maybe people will play him. And then now he's like one of the best characters in the game. Like, it's actually crazy. The fact that NetEase was literally just like, it was like, yeah, let's just take one of the worst characters in the game and just give him literally everything. Like, that's kind of funny. How much does the recent nerf impact him? It doesn't matter. I mean, it's a little annoying that the percentage is slightly lower, but he's still cracked. 20% increased decoding over time, plus increased vaulting speed over time every time you vault, increased running speed over time when you run around, is crazy. The fact that you can see the hunter, communicate to your teammates where the hunter is going. You have veterans bonus. You can't get terror shocked. You're a decoding character. You can kite well because of veterans bonus, and you can't get terror shocked. You have speed boost over time. Lawyer is crazy, dude. Lawyer is so strong, and honestly, when I play rank, I almost ban Lawyer sometimes, and I actually just play Lawyer as Survivor in Survivor rank because Lawyer is just so good. I love Lawyer. He's super strong against Opera. Not too strong against Dream Witch. I will say that's sort of the one thing that brings him down. He's not too strong against Dream Witch. He's also not incredibly strong against Night Watch. If Night Watch has insolence, he can dash and catch up. But he's really good against Opera, and he's just good against almost, I guess, so many hunters in the game as well. And just his decoding in general is super good. Lawyer is just broken, and that's what makes Lawyer S tier. Next character in S tier is Mercenary. Mercenary, even after being nerfed from his what's the thing called, the delayed going down effect? I don't know what the exact name of it, but the effect where Mercenary dies slower than other survivors, the delayed damage effect, going down, because it used to be 15 seconds for one hit, and now it's what, like 7 seconds for one hit, 8 seconds for one hit, 7 or 8 seconds for one hit, something like that. Obviously that sucks, but Mercenary is still very good because Mercenary can rescue half health. And Mercenary's mobility is really, really good, what makes him crucial. Mercenary has incredibly good map mobility, and on large maps, that's extremely important, especially with a lot of hunters in the game. Shell Shock, that's what it's called. Thank you. a lot of hunters have the ability to cut off the survivor from a distance. For example, Opera Singer, Dream Witch, those two in general. Also, Night Watch will sometimes try to do that. Mercenary can just elbow pad pass, reach the chair. Mercenary is just the best. Mercenary has always been the best rescuer and will remain that because he's super consistent. It's incredibly hard to stuff a Mercenary. He can rescue multiple times. There is the same to say about Officers. It's very hard to stuff Officer, and it's very hard. And Officer can save twice. But Officer does not have the same mobility that Merc does. Merc's map mobility makes him very, very good. And that's what makes Merc really strong, is that he can get across the map a lot quicker to rescue a survivor when needed. And so that's what makes Mercenary S tier. Best rescuer in the game, still just above Officer, but still the best rescuer. And long last, we have Aeroplanist and Antiquarian as the last two here. I'm actually going to put Aeroplanist right below Lawyer. I think Lawyer and Mercenary are slightly better and more valuable than Aeroplanist. But Aeroplanist we're going to put him in like this. We're going to go like this, and we're going to go like that. That's going to be the final for the tier list. But I will say for Aeroplanist is very good. The ability to be able to kite against a lot of hunters in the game. You can utilize the jump up jetpack plus the shoot forward to get to really strong kiting areas. Also, Aeroplanist can be a rescuer as well, because Aeroplanist also can not get cut off from a distance, because you can jump up and then you can dash forward to the chair. So Aeroplanist can bring Tide Turner. That's what makes him really good. I'm gonna be honest. I called it completely wrong when Aeroplanist first came out. I thought he wasn't gonna be very strong, and I told you guys all that. And that I usually am able to call characters pretty well, but this one I will straight up admit I messed up Aeroplanist. Aeroplanist is very good. So Aeroplanist is just very good because he is a very good rescuer. He's a very good kiter. You can use him to get into broken kiting areas. You can just jump up and dash forward. He's actually just better than Patient. I thought Patient was a better version of Aeroplanist. Aeroplanist, other way around. Aeroplanist is a better version of Patient. So Aeroplanist is just very good. His kiting is very good against a lot of hunters. You can use him to kite Dreamwitch. You can use him to kite Opera Singer. You can use him to kite Night Watch. Bloody Queen, very good against kiting Bloody Queen. Can kite against Naiad as well. So many. Can also rescue against a lot of hunters. So definitely Aeroplanist is S tier. And the best character in the game, still in my opinion, is Antiquarian. Antiquarian is just extremely good. She is good. There's no character that Antiquarian is bad against. The only hunter that Antiquarian maybe could struggle against is like kind of Soul Weaver, because Soul Weaver is fast and can bait swings. Maybe, but not really, kind of. And then also like maybe Bloody Queen, if Bloody Queen mirrors you from a distance, but if you're able to get close enough and stun, then you can kite the mirror. And yeah. I mean, Antiquarian is good against Opera, Dreamwitch, Naiad, Clerk, Geisha, Night Watch. I mean, I'm literally naming like some of the best hunters in the game. What else is there? Hermit, if you're able to get the hit before they stun you. I don't know. What am I not thinking of? I mean, Antiquarian is just super strong. Not only is Antiquarian a good kiter against, not only is Antiquarian a good, and so it's like Anne and like Spider kind of. Yeah, Anti can sometimes get the stun before the while the Anne's jumping. If the Anne jumps and the Anti goes for the swing as she's jumping, the stun can still register. You can still smack the Anne before before the stun registers on you as the Antiquarian. And you can also, you can flywheel to avoid. It's just so good. Not only is Antiquarian a good kiter against all of like the best hunters in the game, she also is a good harasser, one of the best harassers in the game, right? If not the best. She's one of the best harassers, if not the best, plus one of the best kiters in the game, if not the best. And is good at kiting literally the main meta hunters. Antiquarian's really strong in the current meta, just because she's so strong against kiting against the majority of the meta. And that's what makes her a S tier survivor, the best hunter in the game. Anti cannot hit away cats, but she can stun the ant. As the ant jumps, she can stun the ant as she's jumping before the freeze activates. Yeah, Antiquarian can literally counter so many, majority of the strongest hunters in the game. So Antiquarian is just very good. Definitely S tier, the best character in the game. Yeah, she is the best. Yeah. Okay. Last but not least, I told you guys we were gonna save Cheerleader for the end since she's the newest character. We're gonna go ahead and do Cheerleader at the very end here. I'm gonna be completely honest. This is tough because there has been a bit of controversy over how strong Cheerleader actually is. There are people who say Cheerleader is very strong and very viable, and there's people who say that Cheerleader is not as good. The biggest issue with Cheerleader, in my personal opinion, and from what I've seen also in tournaments as well, Cheerleader obviously can struggle against things such as Opera Singer, because even if you use your speed boost to get away from the Opera, once you start to go on your when you have to walk slowly, the Opera just catches up super fast and hits you. So Opera Singer, Cheerleader's not very good against Opera, and that's sort of what knocks her down a little bit. That's the biggest thing, is it knocks her down a little bit. There against Dreamwitch, she's not too bad because she can avoid getting trapped by followers, but she doesn't have much counterplay to Patroller in reality. So overall, she's not incredibly strong against two of the best hunters of the game, being Dreamwitch and Opera Singer. But she is good in later rounds. She is good against later rounds. Very good against things like Bloody Queen. Obviously, any character that struggles against transition kiters is very good. So good against characters like Bon. Good against characters like Bloody Queen. Good against characters like Naiad, because Naiad, you just wait for them to pull back the trident and then you use your speed boost to run away. Also good against characters like Clerk, if people do play Clerk. I mean, Clerk's obviously not as common anymore, but is still technically a possibility. Not too great against something like Geisha, though, because Geisha can shut off transition kiting. So the way I see Cheerleader is because she's not good against two of the best hunters in the game, being Dreamwitch and Antiquarian. She's not S, and she's probably not A+ because of that. I would put Cheerleader in A- tier. The way I see Cheerleader is she is in A- tier. Obviously, there's a lot of conflicting opinions over Cheerleader. Her support is good against Dreamwitch. It can be, but it's not. Cheerleader support is not as relevant in a lot of matches. Obviously, it can be important in some games, and it can be clutch in some games, but it's not as important. We don't have a Cheerleader dude here, so we're just gonna use what hunter looks like Cheerleader. Sculptor will be Cheerleader. I would put Cheerleader here. This is where I would put Cheerleader in high A- tier. I don't think Cheerleader makes A+ tier because she just struggles against Opera. All these characters in A+ tier are all particularly strong against Opera Singer and particularly strong against some of the best hunters in the game, whereas Cheerleader does lack that a little bit. Her mini speed boost helps transition, but again, against Opera catches up right away and gets the hit anyways. So, and her refresh only works on some characters. Is good against Bloody Queen. She is very good against Bloody Queen. She's good against things like Bloody Queen. She's good against things like, again, like Bloody Queen, Bon, Clerk. Pretty against her. Pretty good against Nightwatch, I would say, as well. Playable, not bad against Nightwatch. But overall, I would say there is... Cheerleader is top of A- tier. She's strong, but she's not A+ or S tier strong just because she's not too strong against the Opera Singer and Dreamwitch General. Just not good against the best hunters of the game. So that's it for the tier list. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to upload this on YouTube, so if you guys are watching this on YouTube as a video, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed the tier list. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.